Good evening, Demonfield Comics in More, New Jersey here, and I've got another interview for you tonight. I know I've said it 100 times over that the tempo just keeps going up on this, and we're not slowing it down by any means tonight either. And I'm kind of fanboying over this one a little bit too, and you'll find out why here just a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors on this because, yes, we have official sponsors. So we're starting to move up in this world. So I'm very excited about this. We will be having a banner that I am finding out. We'll have a banner that'll probably be made and here within a month. We're kind of going based off of the current situations and everything on how long it takes for shipping and all. But we'll have a banner that'll actually have our sponsor logos on there. So we'll be able to show that off behind me. So I'll look a little more official on this. So it won't be just me and my Deadpool buddy over here and this other sketch that we're going to get to here very shortly. So first off, I want to go ahead and thank my sponsors, starting with Totally Rad Comics is one of our sponsors here. Thank you very much on that. Codex Entertainment, thank you very much for being here as a sponsor on that. Sub-Zero Mission, everybody knows how important this sponsor is. I'm not saying one sponsor is more important than the other, but this one actually saves lives. So I really push on this one. They actually go out and help the homeless and especially the veterans that are out there by going ahead and giving them the tools they need to go ahead and survive through the winter months. So we'll be talking a lot more about them and what they offer throughout all this. I have a couple of, I have an interview with Al Raditz from there, if you want to go back and look at that. And then I have an interview with Adam Fields that talks about it. So definitely go back and look at that. And then our final sponsor on this is Third Empire Publishing. Third Empire Publishing actually has Mojo Rising from Outlaw Studio will be coming out June 2nd on Kickstarter. So get ready for that one. Get your mojo on. All right. So that's thanks to our sponsors for tonight. Now, to get to the meat of this. So tonight, I have got a creator here that I am greatly looking forward to having on to the show. He surprised me quite a bit. He surprised quite a few of us, actually. There is a show that's on called Kickstarter Pause, where we actually talk about, the Kickstarters that are out there, and we kind of, for lack of better terms, break them down and give constructive criticism on what, could be good, could be better. This shouldn't be put in there. This is really kind of annoying how the video is or the music or whatever, that kind of thing. For the first time ever, this one was actually approved by the devil, the demon, and the pastor. All three of us on the panel absolutely approved and had absolutely nothing negative whatsoever, no constructive, nothing to say on there except for, wow. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring out the creator of Lylith Mara right now on Indiegogo. This is Jason Dube.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up, Jason? Thank you for coming to the show, man.
Head is flushed here now with all those compliments. Wow. I remember watching. I was watching the Kickstarter Pause that day, and me and my partner Noel, we were both watching it. And when I was waiting anxiously and then getting very nervous. And then when you guys all were just saying all these great things about it, and you had that great quote about the devil, the demon, and the pastor all giving it an approval, I was just like this the whole time going, like, I was all the blood just rushed to my head, and I was like, is this really happening? Am I dreaming? So it was an incredible show. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad you liked it. It really made
absolutely. And it's
my week, everything.
Oh yeah, and it's very rare for us to have absolutely nothing. I mean, there's something you can usually say something about the text is off or the font color is not the right one or something, and we had nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I was prepared. I was like, "Oh, do you think it'll be this, or do you think they're going to say something about that?" Or I was all prepared. I've watched the show before, and I know that you have criticisms for everything. It's usually helpful criticism, and that's how I've learned a lot from your show. But from that show, and so I was prepared for the worst. But
absolutely,
it was amazing.
Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves on here, I want to go ahead, for anybody who doesn't know who you are, if you will tell us who you are, where they can find you, and what you do.
Sure. My name's Jason Dube. I'm the publisher at Scattered Comic Books. Been doing self-publishing books for roughly about 28 years now. But recently, just really been pushing my comic books on crowdfunding platforms, specifically Indiegogo. I did Genesis a couple months ago. It was funded and was successful, and I was like, let's do another one. Let's try again. And I got some help from my buddy Noel Serrato, who's a great artist as well. He did some of the variant covers that you'll see on the Indiegogo, and we did Lylith Mara, launched it, and it's a huge success. And we're meeting a lot of great people this round, such as yourself, and it's just been a lot of fun. So where we're at now.
It's an amazing campaign. We'll get into that here very shortly. I'm pacing myself. I'm trying to keep the energy down just a little bit before I explode here, because I'm really enjoying this.
Got the high energy music going on in my head, I think.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned about publisher, which is the Scattered Studios. If you'll go ahead and tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure. So it's actually I run two I run two businesses, which it gets confusing because they both kind of have the same name. Scattered Studios is what I do full time to pay the bills, which is we basically create comic books for clients. They come to us, usually writers with scripts, and we have a team of artists and colorists, and we create the comic books for them. And that's kind of my full-time gig. But I also have self-published comic books for, like I said, the last 28 years under my Scattered Comics banner. And started with a comic book called Scattered, so that's where that came from. And it's been actually a little bit. Last 6 years, I brought in a bunch of I brought in Noel Serrato, who's my art director, and we decided to bring in other self-publishers that we could all be under the same banner together and basically pull our resources together as a group and basically still do self-publishing, but under one banner that we can kind of, like I said, pull our resources, our strengths, and, hopefully succeed together where we can't as well separate, I guess is the best way to say it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that makes total sense on that, because that way it gives you multiple platforms that you can actually expand your business goals on that. That way you're not just stuck on just one platform. You can actually move around quite a bit. And you have a lot of flexibility by going in and expanding on those two in particular.
And also in different areas, because we're located all over the country, as well as a few creators that actually are in Canada. So it opens up a lot of different, marketing sectors that we wouldn't normally be in or know about. And we all have our own fan bases, like you were just saying, and our own reach in those areas, so we can kind of, like you're saying, overlap each other. And I can have some of my books, because I'm over on the West Coast. I'll have books over on the East Coast now, because the creator over there has ties with stores over there, and they're like, hey, they said they'll bring in some of your other books, so hey. So it's a great way to really expand your reach.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And before we move on with that, just want to say, any LCS owners that are watching this or will be watching this at any given time, get these books into your stores. It's a have to. And we'll get to that point here shortly, but you definitely need to get them into your stores.
Thank you. This is great.
Now, I've done a lot of research on you. I'm not a stalker by any means. I don't own a pair of binoculars or a notebook where I've been sitting out in front of your house or anything. I promise.
This is what you're doing. Good research.
But one thing that I've noticed is in a lot of the research that I've done, you're kind of split between either doing manga or comics. So I wanted to kind of ask you on that end, how did you get your start in both, manga and comics on that?
Well, my style kind of has that, it's my style that I started off with. I wanted to draw like those guys from Image, but that didn't quite, the energy was there to be like them, but that didn't quite pan out. And my style started emerging, which was more cartoony and more anime looking. A lot of people say, and they said that it has some European influence as well. And I was like, hey, I don't know. It's kind of a mishposh of everything that I've been exposed to my entire life, I guess. And I spit it out, and it's my style. But so it kind of is a style that can kind of bridge both worlds in a way. Like, it's comic book enough that it can be very stylized comic book pages, or it's, like you were saying, anime manga enough looking that it could branch that world as well. And so different clients will come in that have either manga or comics, and I can fit their needs either way, I think.
Absolutely. And I agree that you definitely can. And again, we're leading up to that point. Patience. Now on that on that question, I kind of want to piggyback on there and ask you, growing up, what was your favorite manga and what was your favorite comics that actually kind of gave you the inspiration on all this?
So I'm pretty up there in the years. So when I first started collecting comic books was back in the days when they were like 60 cents at a 7-Eleven. And that was actually kind of a routine of mine, as I would go every week with my allowance down to 7-Eleven and blow my couple of bucks on comic books, hot dogs, and video games. I mean, that was there. You could get that much with $5 back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I collected mostly just the Marvel titles. I was big into Iron Man and the Hulk and Defenders. I don't know if you know what that is anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer, and they're all in an Avengers group. Oh yeah, they kind of revived them on Netflix now. Defenders.
Oh, that was a whole different Defenders. No.
I was like, oh, Defenders is not that weird of a word, but yeah, Laura was in there and everything. Anyway, yeah, I spent mostly Marvel comics from my childhood, and as I gotten older and started, got more money to collect more, that's when it was in the 90s, and that's when Image Comics was really doing their thing, their push, and I was just like crazy about all the creators from Image. Even before then, when they were working for Marvel, I was all into Silvestri, McFarlane, Lee, all them, and I loved comics for the art. I just was like, oh, every time you get a new book, it's just like a treasure trove of artwork, and you're just like, oh my goodness. And then you have to go back and read it after you flip through and just look at the art, and then you go back and read it. But so that's kind of for collecting. And then as I got older from there, I ran out of money to collect, and I was just mostly trying to create comics at that point. So when I did collect, it was always like for artists that I liked mostly.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the best way to do it. Whenever you run out of money to actually buy them, you start making them yourself, and
right.
It's the best of both worlds at that point. So I commend you on that one.
I go to conventions and just buy all my buddies' comic books, all the creators' books. I'm like, okay, I've got a limited amount of money, so I'm getting all my friends' books here.
And see, that's great that you're actually giving back to the community that's actually working with you as well, because that's a huge thing too, is a lot of people forget that everybody works within this community together as far as the industry and the indies especially. Oh, yeah. So it's good to go ahead and give back directly to those on that. It doesn't always mean support doesn't always mean financial. And I have said this on many, many of my shows. Support can be the power of the finger. Just make sure you use the right one and hit that share button, and everything's good, because you'll find somebody who'll get it.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. Just like when you're doing these Indiegogos or these campaigns, it's great to have a team of people that are just waiting to, if you put a post up, all of a sudden you see all these shares going up, and you're like, what? Who's sharing all my stuff? And it's like all your buddies, in your group. And it's like, oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, it's nice to know everyone's got each other's back. So.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I haven't shared it today, so I will be sharing it after we're done with this interview. I know for sure, because I've already got some people who are waiting to get some information on it. So we'll definitely do that. Now, that leads us directly into Lylith Mara, the Indiegogo that you've got going right now. Right. So if you can kind of tell us a little bit about the project, kind of give us an overview on there, no spoilers, and we can kind of,
you did a great job
get a feel for this.
It, by the way, on your review.
I was dying on that thing. I was holding back.
I'm the same, though. I get excited about my projects, and I want to tell everybody everything. I find this at conventions. They're like, "So what's this book about?" And you do the blurb, what it's about, and then they're like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And then what's this? And all of a sudden you're like giving away the entire story, and then I'm like, "Wait, you should buy this."
And for those of you that don't know, Jason was kind enough to go ahead and send me the PDF, because I backed it, and I've got physical books coming that I cannot wait for. So he went in and sent me the PDF to do a review. The review is on here, and if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's great.
me up with a good review on that one.
But it was very difficult.
Way out on something too. That was awesome, and it's my project,
yeah.
so it's win-win-win all over the place.
Oh yeah, and it was very difficult because I had the PDF right here in front of me while I'm doing the review, and I'm literally scrolling through, and I'm like, nope, not going to give that away. Nope, not giving that away either. I'm going to tell you about this, but not that.
That's one of the tricks, is telling a little bit about your book without making it a teaser, but I'll give it a shot. So Lylith and Mara are basically, they're twin sisters that were the original vampire and succubus. From them, all vampires and succubus clans had come from. Boy, this is hard. It's basically an origin story of a sorts. It doesn't start to like when they were first born or anything, but it kind of gives the reader kind of an origin of where they evolved into the people that they are now, I think is
right.
the best way. Now, something I didn't really say too much in the campaign, but maybe a little bit, is they actually are characters that are a big factor in another series that I do called Shadowhunters. And there's actually a Shadowhunters comic book tie-in in the campaign. And the way that is, I don't know if that would give away things, but there's definitely some major tie-ins to what you were talking about earlier on your review, the big demonic creatures that are in the book. So anyway, it's got some beautiful artwork by Frederick Allison Jr. The cover art is by Summer Dale. And I wrote it as a one-shot origin type story. However, don't worry.
You saw my face.
Because at the end, it does kind of leave off kind of in a way where you're like, well, what happens next kind of thing. And that's why I say it's an offshoot of Shadowhunters, because it goes back, from there, it takes you back into where Shadowhunters is going. And you're going to understand it in a whole nother way now. So Phil, it's going to be okay.
Well, we're definitely going to need more Lylith and Mara as well, because whenever I get a book that I can review where my microphone messes up every time I say Sisters of the Dark, I mean, it's one of those things. It just messes up every time I say it. I don't know what it is.
Well, with the way that everyone is receiving this book, I think we're going to have to do something more with Lylith and Mara now for sure. But they will be. This is just the beginning for them. No matter what, it is just the beginning. You're going to see a whole lot more. We'll hook you up. We'll figure something out here. But
absolutely.
Originally, the story was going to lead into the next issue of Shadowhunters, so they would be going into there. So it's going to be okay, Phil. We're gonna get some more for you, brother.
I'm good. Trust me. I know you're going to hook me up on that. I know we're good on that one. The demon's got to have his fill on this one.
There's so much story in here with those characters that it's going to happen. So,
and it was done so well in just the one shot that you can see where there's so many more layers involved in everything, but you didn't even touch on it. So you left those wide open to interpretation or to add on to later on. So if the book hadn't have done so well, you'd have been like, okay, one shot, it's done, it's over with, it's okay.
Idea. Yes.
Not now.
Yeah. I know. That was kind of the idea. You do kind of do it in a one shot, just to kind of test the waters a little bit, because sometimes you have ideas, you think they're great, and you want to just show everybody, and you do it, and then it doesn't quite work out the way you thought it would. And now you're stuck with a series that nobody wants, kind of thing, even though you do. But so this was kind of a way to both build on characters that were already established, sort of in an older, like their first appearance, which was like 2 panels maybe, was in a comic called Scattered. Well, like I said, my first comic book I ever did way back in 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, one of the 4, if we unlock the 4,000 tier, you will be getting their first appearance in that Scattered issue in an ash can. It's a 16-page comic ash can. But yeah, there's just so many layers with these characters, with those characters, and the characters evolved, and the dark that I love so much. they're all those characters. They all have really rich storylines, but you don't want to just put them all in one book. You know, there's so much, you would kind of overwhelm, I think, some people maybe if you concentrated too much on every character. It would be like, I feel like it wouldn't give a proper spotlight for each of those characters. You kind of got to give them their own book, you know.
Exactly. And that's why another thing that I appreciate is that you didn't go straight into it just with a graphic novel and give all the information and be done with it scenario. You're actually, you were kind of testing the waters. I don't think you realized exactly how much it was like going to be hitting the waters and doing really well on this one. And now you've got something that you actually have to build off of, and it's got to have its own little universe going off of it type deal. So,
oh, the torments of success. No, that's great, man. I'm so like I said, I'm so thrilled, and I'm like I said, when you with your review, and I saw your review, and you just talked about how you were a fanboy of it. I was like, what? You're like a celebrity. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna keep going with it.
Now I have to correct you on something, because earlier you said if you get to 4,000. I'm saying when.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We're just going to throw that out there right now, because people who are watching this show and going to be watching it later on and everything, it's a win situation. This is not an if, because everybody's going to share this thing out. Everybody's going to get on here and support this, and you're going to see this. Trust me.
Oh, awesome. All right. So everyone's going to be getting their 16-page comic book ash can in addition to whatever else they pledge.
The demon wants his ash can.
Everybody get it now. So yeah, right now there's let's see how many extra things are. So if they just go and get a comic book, just a plain comic, and get it, we'll sign it if you want. You have that option. And Noelle made sure that you have options, either you want it signed or not, because some people don't like their book signed. So you have that option. But you're also getting a sticker. Really cool sticker. Summer Dale did a separate piece of artwork for. We have the bookmark that just came out, and we also have a backboard print that I drew in color.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff right now that you get with this. So, and an ash can soon enough.
Exactly. Now, speaking of prints, since we're going to go ahead and bring that up real quick, I notice over your shoulder there, you've got a print behind you. And then sure enough, would you look at, I've got a print behind me that looks like almost the same artwork. What's up with that?
Now, this was actually, I'll see if you can see this. This was actually the very first person that got the $25 original sketch add-on.
Yep.
And so what I did is I did a Lylith for him. And I like to do them on the backboards, because it's great that you can. I think an artist did this for me one year. It was Art Adams. That's what I met him when I was younger, and he was signing books, but you could have him draw something on your backboard. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. Is I have my signature on one side, and I got a sketch on the other, and I always thought that was really cool. And I was fanboying way back in the day when I was 12 years old when I met him. But
now I have to show this off, because now, first off, this was given to me after my review. So this did not reflect any way on my review or anything. That was my genuine review that I gave on there. This was done after.
Yes. Yeah, comics and more. Lylith is a fan of the show.
That is amazing.
Thank you, man.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the series and want to see it go much further and do much more on there. Now, you had mentioned about Genesis and Shadowhunters. Now, are they going to be ongoing as well, or are they more of a one-shot? Or are you seeing where people like me are saying, sorry about your luck, but you got to do more?
The fans will not let me rest. No, that is great. Genesis actually, and this is a Patreon exclusive edition cover that I drew for the Genesis comic, but this story, it was always originally going to be a 3-part series, and so there's still two more issues that are going to be out in that. Genesis is actually a character from my Scattered series I was telling you about, and I've got 2 big, thick graphic volumes of that comic, and but she is a character that I have so many stories in my head for. And since she came down to earth from the beginning of time, I can like go through all these different like time periods and just kind of have fun with it. So I came up with some ideas for like the Victorian age and the 70s and like different things. And so I'm just going to have fun with this character being basically herself in these timelines. So that's kind of what the idea for that was. So that was always originally a 3-issue thing. And of course now there's a fan base that's really into it. So I wonder if they're going to say, oh, no, you can't end it now. The Shadowhunters is an ongoing series, and I'm wearing the shirt here just because I thought it was a good tie-in. It's an ongoing series, and that one's about 3 monster girls. One's a werewolf, one's a vampire, one's a witch. They band together to fight off this demon invasion, which you know more about now that you've read Lylith Mara. And unfortunately, there's a shadow government that hunts down everything supernatural. So even though they're trying to save the city of Sacramento, which is where I live, they're being hunted down by this organization. So that's kind of that story in a nutshell. But like I said, so Genesis comes from the Scattered storyline, but it's been such a long time since I've done Scattered that people aren't so familiar with it than with this character now. So everything's connected too. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not doing like the Marvel Universe thing on purpose, but it just kind of was. You start off with one book, you have like all these characters, and you're like, oh, I want to do some more stuff with this character. So you give them their own book, and then people are into that, and then there's new characters that come up in that book, and then you have more books that because you want to focus on those characters. So I have a lot of different storylines for a lot of different ideas and characters, and they all intermingle if I want them to. They're all in the same universe. They're all in Sacramento right now.
Well, see, that's really good because you can come out with special issues or something as well, where you actually have them all together at one point and then have them go back to their regular separate issues after that.
Right, a big crossover.
Exactly.
I'm going to need more help, I think. But yeah, if the way things are starting to, they seem like they're starting to snowball a little bit with the fan base and the success of these campaigns and stuff. It seems like this might be the way to really start expanding these universes and being able to put out more than one book a year. I mean, already I put out 2 books this year, so it's remarkable how it's all working. You know, I've been in this industry since the 90s, and it's changed so much from multiple multiple distributions, while wanting your book, to one single distributor that is really picky on who they're going to distribute, to online comics, to now crowdfunding. It's ever changing and evolving, and I'm just glad that I'm still, plugging away at it, and I'm able to make books for everybody and I'm getting them out there.
Absolutely. So. And in bringing up that brings up a question too, because as far as the online, as far as the crowdfunding and everything, we know that you're being successful with that. As far as getting it at a retail level, now current situation, of course, excluded on this, at a retail level, how well are you doing that? Or do you have aspirations to get into more stores with that?
Well, with the retail level, without having like a diamond or something like that to get your books, but of course you have to have a couple thousand for it to make sense, because your printing costs have to outweigh what their cut's gonna take and all that. But basically with the retail stores, and you kind of just go with where you're local. I think you reach out to all the local stores, and they know you, and they will either do breaks where they're like, okay, I'll just buy these books right out from you, and I'll sell them, or they'll give you a good percentage discount. But a lot of times you kind of have to go into it thinking this is just getting the book in front of people's eyes to build the series up and get a fan base going. It's not so much I'm going to make a lot of money going to these bookstores. It's more of just kind of outreach more, kind of just getting your product in front of eyeballs, so that when
Absolutely.
they mention, they're like, wait a minute, I saw that comic at the store the last 5 times. Maybe I should have bought it. Well, I'll buy it now and get a signature. So sort of like that. And that's where the Scattered Comics team is what I was telling about, where it really helps out when they're all around different areas of the country and they're all near different local stores. You can get your books in those stores as well and get the word out for all the different people. So yeah.
And another easy way that you have to get these books into your store right now, well, as soon as the book is printed, of course, Lylith Mara does have a retail pack that's available.
Thank you, man. You are hooking this up. I forgot we did that. Yes, we do have a retail pack for retailers. The way this is kind of working too, because we want to make sure that the retailers are going to be making money off these books as well. We discounted the books, but we also don't have a price tag directly on the books. So the retailers, and these are, like with most crowdfunding books, you're not going to be able to get this book anywhere else. After this campaign's over, I'm not putting these books anywhere that you can just buy them somewhere else. So if you're a retailer, that you're going to have an instant collector's item because they're not going to be anywhere else. So you can put a price tag on it, and if people want them signed and stuff, you can make sure you can have that option to have it sign them or not. But yeah, we try to make it so the retailers, it's something that the retailers will be able to make a profit from, and it, of course, supporting us. I actually talked to a retailer nearby about doing my last campaign, and we're trying to work out a way how will we do this, so he can make money and I can get him on my campaign. And so we couldn't figure something out then, but then I came up with this idea, and I think this might be the way the ticket, so everyone wins. So
absolutely, and that's a great way to do that. Now I'm going to go back to something else you kind of touched on briefly, let you talk about it just a little bit, but Patreon, because I went and looked at your Patreon on there. You're about to have a new member, by the way.
I need more fans like you. Thank you. Yeah, check out my like my easy video on there.
No, it's set up very well. Actually, I still have it on the screen, and
oh wow,
it's anywhere from $1 just to get on there, just to join up, to $20 a month. But the stuff that you get out of here, I mean, there is absolute value in this. If you do the $20 a month, each time that there is an exclusive edition comic that comes out, you will get it signed through Patreon. That's a guarantee that you'll be getting that book. So that one that he's holding right there, that's one of those. There
was only 15 of these printed.
Oh wow.
And that's that. And I got one.
Hang on, a little bit of drool right there. I'll get over it. I'll be okay.
Well, and that's the other thing. Some people asked me later on after the Genesis campaign, how can I get one of those Patreon covers? And I said, well, okay, so this is how it works, because it's a reward for my Patreons. If you join the Patreon, the $20 tier, the next time I have a campaign, a crowdfunding campaign, you will have that option to get that one if you want, because you've now been with the Patreon for a while. So you can have that option. You can get the exclusive Lylith Mara, you can get the exclusive Genesis. It would be up to you at that point. But I can't just sell them just because someone's interested in it. They're like, oh, I'll give you X amount of money. I'm like, but that's not fair to the Patreons, because they're on there. I would love to take your money, but it's not fair to them. So I want to make it something that's special just for them. But yeah, so thank you. Yeah, and there's a lot of different tiers on that Patreon that I try to make it worth it. Again, Patreon's something I'm kind of new to as well, so I wasn't sure what would be worth it and stuff. But I try and upload something. I try to do something daily, like put up some kind of. Ooh, I forgot to do one today, but I do. You reminded me. After this Patreons, I'll be uploading some artwork. But yeah, I try and do something daily, but I also have a monthly exclusive that I mail out to the $20 tier Patreons. And it's either a print that they vote on. They say, okay, like this month was zombies. Let's see if I got that here. And I did, I don't know
nice.
What movie this is, but it's supposed to be Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, yeah.
From the 70s. They said zombies, so I was like, I love Dawn of the Dead. I'm going to do that. And they seem to like it. So now that's going to be colored, made into prints, and printed just for them and shipped off in a a protective sleeve and everything. And you'll have to edit this if that was if I spent too much time on that.
Oh no, you're good. Trust me, I mean, for Patreon, that's actually, like I said, the reason I brought it up is there's a ton of value that's involved in here. But the fact that you even brought up about having your vote count, that is huge with Patreons. If you're going to be spending your money monthly on there, that's huge for us to be on a Patreon to go, wait a minute, I actually have a vote in what gets done on this. I have a vote in what's going to be put out. That's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I'm trying to find out from them what they want me, what theme. I always ask for a theme, and sometimes it's vague, like zombies. You can go anywhere with that. And then sometimes it's very specific. One time it was Alice in Wonderland, so I did a big Cheshire cat with little Alice riding him and stuff. And it was a little bit different than your typical Disney-looking Alice in Wonderland, because the cat was like this huge, like almost like dinosaur-looking character, and she's like this little girl, like on the back, just holding on, sleeping. But it was fun. So yeah, it's a lot of fun with the Patreon, because they get me to draw things I wouldn't even think about drawing. One time it was Animaniacs. I used to watch the cartoon, but I would never think to, today I'm going to draw some Animaniacs. So it's like they keep me guessing, and it's fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, it can be incredibly fun doing that, and like you said, it just keeps that edge going with what you're doing. You don't want to get to where you're complacent or stale on that. You want to have something that keeps that edge honed on there. And that, I think that actually, with having a vote, I mean, you may be surprised on what I can come up with. Getting inside this brain is a very difficult place to get out of.
Start trying things for him.
So if you start asking for input, you may be sorry you asked that.
Well, I mean, with the nickname the Demon, I can just imagine what you're gonna have. But I was like telling my wife before, I was like, "Oh, I got the interview with the Demon tomorrow," and she's like, "The Demon?" Oh, that's what he says, but he's like the coolest guy, man. He's anything but what you would think a demon is.
Don't mess up my rep. I'm okay.
I'm scared, man. I'm scared.
Your soul is mine. There we go. We're good. If you can't laugh, you can't have any fun. I mean, what's the point in doing anything?
That's what keeps us young.
Exactly. Now, do you have commissions that are open now? Do you do commissions?
I do commissions. I mostly do commissions through my Scattered Studios. So, you can go on to Scattered Studios. There's a list of artists. You just select the one that's me, and I'll do whatever you're looking for. Jim Noble had me do a commission, and I just did one for his Star Wars, May the Force Be With You theme comic. And it was, oh man, why I can't remember her name. But she was holding a lightsaber and looking cute and sexy. And
her name is Violet.
Oh, Violet, that's right. Color. I want to say lilac, but I know. Violet, yes. I was promoting that. I wrote Violet a ton of times all over the place, including my Patreon. So I didn't know that. Sorry, Jim. I love
it's all good. Everybody gets distracted by the clowns. You never remember the names. It's all good.
There you go. Woo,
now, I also want to bring up, because there's something else that I've done a lot of research, of course, on you and doing some things. So what I've done a lot of research on is YouTube, because you have your live draws that you do on there, which are phenomenal. Because one thing I want to point out on there is it's not just the live draw itself. You're actually talking and explaining what you're doing and why you're using this technique and why you're using this particular thing here. Yeah. I'm not an artist, and I feel like I'm learning something. So, and it's not happy little trees. I mean, it's actually really cool.
Yeah, a lot of the videos that when I do that, I don't really know what the fans really want me to be doing. Like, I'm drawing, but I feel like I need to be saying something in the empty space, So I'm just kind of explaining what I'm doing, because a lot of times it's hard to concentrate on different subjects when you're drawing, because you're just really focused. But I find if I just talk about what I'm actually doing, that's a way I can stay focused on the drawing and also maybe tell, but I don't know if I'm boring people by doing that. So it's actually great to hear feedback about that. So.
No, it's not boring at all. It's amazing to me that you start with a blank page. I mean, every single time it's a blank page, and you just start freehanding. You don't have stencils. You don't have, to my knowledge, you don't have any kind of reference material there with you or anything. You just go freehand on it, and usually these videos are 10 minutes or less, thereabouts, by the time you're finished drawing.
The 5-minute drawing challenges is I started it as a way for me to actually warm up for the day to draw. And I encourage other artists to warm up with me. And let's take 5 minutes. Let's just see what we can draw in 5 minutes. And of course, it's going to be horrible because, 5 minutes, what are you going to do with that? So you get to watch how I scribble out the drawing. And then I'll take that afterwards on the side, and I'll ink that drawing in. And so you could see, okay, after your 5-minute drawings, this is what it will look like when you clean it up. And so you don't think, oh man, this guy is a horrible artist. All he does is scribble a bunch of nonsense. But yeah, most of the time I start off my videos and I start drawing, I'm like, okay. And I say the same thing. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. So it's always kind of surprising, sometimes in a bad way, of what I end up with. But it's part of the challenge, right? You just freestyle it.
Oh, it's definitely not where it's there's never anything that is just not interesting to watch. It's actually very interesting to watch.
Oh, great. I'm glad to hear that.
Now, since I've got you on here, and while I've got you on here, I'm going to make some people really jealous on this one, especially Jim Noble. He, of course, #1 backer on your, he was the first backer on your Indiegogo.
I told you earlier, I just met Jim too through a fan of his. And he texted me the day of my campaign launch, and he said, send me a text as soon as you launch. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I launch it, and I send him a text like, okay, here's the link. And then a minute later, I swear, it must have been just a minute later, bing, and it says first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? So I click on the campaign page, refresh. There it was. I was like, oh, he is the coolest guy. Coolest guy. And he's got a great character named Violet that I love to draw.
Exactly. Now, whenever I told Jim that I had the PDF for the review and everything, he was like, I don't even have the freaking book yet. I'm #1. Why do I not have So I'm loving doing this, by the way. While I have you on here, and if anyone has not watched my review on this, I'm going to give a quick review of what I gave a review on the book. Just let everybody know, since I actually had the PDF open in front of me again. Right. Again, no spoilers.
Okay. You'll do a better job than me because I want to say everything.
Well, I mean, so the way that, and again, I'm having to be careful on what I say because I'm not giving any spoilers away, but it goes straight into a ton of action. And I like that because there's a lot of story that's involved on here, but sometimes it goes too slow to go straight into the story and then go into everything on there. And since there is so many connecting storylines within this this book here, it's very well done how it actually comes out right off the bat with some action, and then it starts going into basically like a flashback sequence that lasts pretty much the rest of the book. Now, most of the times whenever you hear that, you kind of think, flashback, I'm really not going to like that too much.
No, I don't want to.
Oh, yeah. Now, I will give you this much right here. There is no nudity in this book. It is very sensual as far as how it is drawn. There is no nudity in here. You won't see anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that. But even then, a lot of times whenever you have too much sensuality in a book, it kind of throws you off of the story and takes your eyes off of where they need to be and focuses on other things. And this is not one of those books. With this book, it is very fluid. Even just going from character to the lettering to the next page, and then all of a sudden there's some action that happens. Now there's a whole bunch of different, I'm not going to tell you what I'm looking at, but there's a whole bunch of different extra color that's put into here. Again, usually that's a little something else that'll take your mind off of things you're doing. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a page turner. This is one that you will start, you will finish, and you'll go, wait a minute, where did I miss it? And you'll go back and you'll redo it, and you'll redo it over and over. I can't tell you how many times I've read this. It's been at least probably a couple of dozen times that I've actually read this.
Wow.
It's very well done. Now I do know, because I said I wasn't going to give spoilers, but I did notice on the Indiegogo, you have a picture of these two little twins. I'm not talking about the girls. I'm talking about the evil twins.
Talking about.
He has a picture that's on his Indiegogo. So I'm not giving away a spoiler on this one, but you need to notice just the look on their faces whenever they're on there. And of course, you'll see blood splatter and everything on there. So you're like, wow, what did these two get into? You have no idea. And it's not even, this is only like the beginning, because just as soon as you get into this is whenever you start going along and the story really starts progressing. And then all of a sudden, because you know this much about it, that they actually end up on Earth, or a form of Earth, where they're around humans and all. But there's a problem with that. Not going to get into the problem, but there's a problem. There is a circumstance that is involved whenever they get into Earth. The circumstance causes the rest of the issues in the book. If I could be any more vague, I would, because I want to hook you on this one, because
it's tough, right?
Well, okay, I have watched so many movies, reviewed so many books, read so many comics, so many novels, all that kind of stuff, and you always have, I know how this is going to go. I know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen with this one.
Right.
A couple dozen times that I've read this, and I can't find where it leads me off. I can't. And that's very well done. That, to me, is a great testament to how it was written, how it was done, and I'm talking about the whole thing. It's not a matter of someone wrote it very well, but the lettering's off. Someone, was very good art in there, but the panels don't actually match up correctly. The panels are okay, but I can't really understand what the dialogue is. Everything is completely fluid in here. Then I went and looked at it from an editor standpoint, which I am not an editor, but just looking to see if I can find any mistakes in here. Couldn't find a thing. So all in all, this thing, whenever I say it's got the demon seal of approval, I'm not even remotely joking. That is absolutely up there.
You did it again. You got me blushing. Thank you, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can tell you've read this a couple of times now because of just what you said. There's some subtle things that I don't just throw in your face, but it's there. So I can tell you've noticed some of those things now.
Well, I've tried to take it apart and figure out, okay, it can't be that perfect. There's got to be something in here. I mean, I know I've really built it up, and I've promoted it, and I've backed it and everything, but there's got to be something. Absolutely not. I mean, I cannot wait to have this thing in my hands. And since we've already talked about this, there needs to be more.
I hear you, brother. Okay, we're gonna make this happen for you. Don't worry. There will be more Lylith Mara. Don't worry.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's so just so everyone knows who will be watching this, whenever I give a review, I am very genuine in what I say. I am very to the point. I'm having to kind of bounce around a little bit. You'll notice that in my voice, just because I don't want to give away any spoilers on here. And you'll appreciate that I'm not giving the spoilers also.
Really because good. Doing good.
This book is every aspect of it. I mean, this is easily, honestly, I would say probably in my top 10, maybe top 5 books, honestly.
Good Lord. Thank you. Oh, man.
So as long as I don't get this thing and the spine is completely fallen off of it because of shoddy workmanship or something, we're okay.
Working with for years now, and also I made sure everything's bag and boarded and put in those Gemini mailers, because it seems like that keeps everything, for the last books anyway that I shipped out, everyone was really happy with how they look, with how they got them, good condition. So even if you have a bad delivery person, it'll survive it. But yeah, you can understand now how I was actually had a hard time putting the trailer video together for this, because I don't want to be like, just like we were talking about with the movies. There's some movie trailers where exactly everything now it's going to be in the movie from the trailer. There might be some scenes you haven't seen yet, but already, okay, it's going to start like this. They're going to do this, and they're going to, end up doing something like this. So
exactly.
So you go see the movie and you're just kind of oh, okay, I know what happens next. But that was a cool conclusion. But
I am going to go ahead and show the movie, actually, now that you bring that up, because For that thing to be devil, demon, and pastor approved, it needs to be shown.
Oh, great.
So let me put a share screen on here, and then I will drop us back so we can see the whole thing.
All right, cool.
Bear with me on this. Technology and all, which is, all kinds of fun at times. There we go. We can actually see that.
Nice.
Now you should be able to, I don't know if you're able to hear that. Hang on, let me. And of course, it's not going to play through because I'm going to get feedback on it.
Okay. Well, you get to see the trailer anyway.
Yes, I apologize about that, but if I put it on, it's going to have a lot of feedback through the mic.
This is awesome.
But what I want to bring up is definitely go. The link is in here. Go take a look at it, but look at the video, because whenever we say devil, demon, and pastor approved, is not only because the video was just well done. We're talking about this is like the benchmark for what we want to see on Kickstarter Pause for future projects that come out for everybody. The music played perfectly into every single cutscene on here, and every single scene had something to do with the way the music flowed on there. I think didn't you have who was it that did the music on here that you got that song from?
I believe they're a band called Nero.
Yes, that's right.
And it's a song called Ghost, and I got it specifically because it was on the no copyright music, the no copyright music on YouTube. Because I've gotten doing videos on YouTube, especially, you get dinged so quickly on any kind of, even if it's just like a couple of notes of something, it's like, oh, copyright. So now I go right to the no copyright music section, and I came across that song, and I was like, this is a great song. I'm gonna see if I can use it in my video somehow, and yeah, it worked out great. I cut some of the song to fit parts of the imagery, and then also tweaking the imagery to overlap with the music. So like I said, I spent a whole day on that video, and I was really nervous how other people were going to perceive it. I really, I guess it's anything you create, you never know exactly how people are going to respond to it.
True.
You're like, well, I did the best I could. I like it. I don't know. We'll see what people think.
And for those of you who haven't gone and looked at it yet, go ahead and I don't know why you haven't, but definitely go look. But if you haven't yet, so imagine a nursery rhyme with classical music kind of intermingled in with, I won't even say it's rock music. It's almost heavy metalish, almost headbanger style, but it's only at certain points. I can't explain how it is. The way that this thing goes, and immediately whenever you start hearing that kind of stuff, you're like, man, that sounds terrible. I can't believe that would actually have a good sound to it. Oh, this soundtrack rocks. It definitely does.
No, thank you though. Yeah, so that's why, and especially you make a video that's kind of the face of your campaign. You have Kickstarter Pause does it every week. That video is basically going to fuel your campaign. That's the first thing people are going to see, and that's what they're going to base it on. And so it's always a little bit nerve-wracking to like create something that's going to be driving your whole thing. But I'm so glad that you liked it.
Oh, I'll honestly say, and Jason and I had talked about this prior to coming on the interview and all, that Jim Noble had messaged me and basically said, hey, I'm the #1 backer on this project. Awesome. It has my approval. You need to go get on it, that kind of thing. Well, he and I have that friendship where we kind of go back and forth like, hey, you've got to go jump on this one. And sight unseen, we're like, okay, cool. And we jump on it. So I went over there, and the first one that I saw was for Free Comic Book Day. There was one that had a comic that was going on there. I think it was only for like 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that.
Right.
And so I went ahead and hit it. Good, great, wonderful. Now, me being me, Kickstarter Pause, doing the panels every once in a while, that kind of thing, doing the interviews and all, I didn't really look into it. After I hit the button and I, went ahead and set up for it and I backed it and all, that's whenever I started going, hey, let me look and see what I just got into here.
Jim, what'd you do?
And if you know Jim, you never know what you're getting into. So, so I went ahead and I scrolled through, And remember, I hadn't even looked at the video yet. So I scrolled through, looked at the entire campaign.
Wow.
Yeah, I went through the whole thing, went through the whole campaign to see what was going on. Yeah. And then I went to the video last, and my jaw was just on the ground going, how did I miss this? And what's going on here? I thought I was being punked at that time. I thought somebody had set up like the perfect setup on here that normally they would put in front of a Kickstarter pause just to go, it's not real.
You were probably like, is this Jim's book? Who did this? Well, thank you. I'm so glad. Man, that's great though. That I like how you backed it first, and then you're like, let's see what I got.
I very rarely do that. I mean, unless somebody recommends it and I trust their judgment on that kind of thing, that's fine. But I usually dig into it. And the first thing I always do whenever I go to all of my crowdfunding is I always go to the last tier. The reason I do this is because if you're going to put something up there that is $1,000 or higher or something like that, and I see no value in it, why would I have value in anything else prior to that? It shakes that trust. So whenever I first went looking through there, I think your highest tier was $250, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right. There was a piece of artwork, right?
For original art, yes. Which I was like, okay, that's value. Okay. And then it went down to like 150, 100, and I'm like, all right, I'm kind of digging this a little bit. And if I'm not mistaken, I went back and I got seconds. I got the $50 tier, which is all the books. I had to.
Big one. That's the I want everything bundle. It's like, give me it all.
Exactly. So my whole point to all this is definitely look through it. You want to watch that video and get the full immersion into what's going on with this. And then you want to scroll through it and figure out what you want to get. But don't bypass the add-ons. The add-ons on there, $25 will get you your sketch. Exactly. So he'll do a sketch, which is great for $25. I mean, that's actually a good size sketch right there.
And I video when I draw them, I video me penciling and inking them, and I put them up on YouTube so that end with your name, so that way you can say, hey, you guys, look at my artwork I'm getting.
Exactly. And then there are 2 more add-ons on there, if I'm not mistaken.
We have, yes, Noel Serrato. He'll do a head sketch remark on the cover itself. And he does also another one that's called Bloodbath, where he will take his paint pen and draw some beautiful blood all over the ladies for you. So yeah, there's also that we just unlocked the Mother's Day packet. For Mother's Day, we have a Mother's Day add-on where you get a Mother's Day card and a Mother's Day variant cover edition. And I think that's all the add-ons.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the only ones that were on there because the Mother's Day was the newest one that was on there, and that was only added on last weekend, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, we just unlocked another one. When we hit the 3,000. Oh
yeah.
Wait, 2,500 mark. We unlocked a special Blood Quencher cover variant that you can add on too. And it's a beautiful painting by Noel Serrato with just Lilith's head like this and the blood just coming down all over her and stuff. So
actually, here, we're going to go ahead. We'll take a look at this real quick because this is just too pretty not to share.
Awesome. Yeah, there it is.
So there is that one.
That's the cover, and it's a virgin cover. So what that means that I just learned that terminology. It means there's no logos or any insignias or anything on the cover. It's just the artwork as a cover itself.
Yeah, and then here is Shadowhunters that we were talking about.
Right. Yes, this is a tie-in issue where it actually ties in. It actually ties in right with the pages of Lylith Mara, but it's also its own sole story. So you don't have to get the Shadowhunters tie-in to understand Lylith Mara, and you don't have to get Lylith Mara to understand that Shadowhunters cover. But it's really cool when you have them both side by side. So, and you'll be getting that one.
Oh yeah. And there is Genesis. That's Genesis 1. That's a second edition, right?
Second Chance. It's a different variant cover edition that we offered just for this Second Chance. So that way we're not taking away from people that pledged in the last campaign. It's not something that, it's something brand new basically. So even people from the last campaign that got the Genesis one might see this and go, "Ooh, I kind of want that." You know.
Now, I just want to point out that whenever I first saw this, I was like, "So you get a regular book? What's up with that?" But if you look in the background, just look in the background there, the shadowing.
Oh
just
yeah.
Behind the parasol, you can actually see all kinds of fun stuff that's going to be happening there. So yeah, it has my attention.
That one too. Oh yeah. Yes. Nothing is what it seems in some of these books. So yeah, you're gonna definitely enjoy that one too. I can tell.
And there is the Mother's Day one.
Right. That one. Yeah, that one just got unlocked. So you get an actual card that folds out. You know, just like a regular card, but you also get a comic book variant of that with that image too, and that's Summerdale as well. We love Summerdale's work. Here's Noel Serrato, and he's got the 3 different variants that you can get of his cover. One's the tame version that you've got right there on the screen,
right?
And the tame version, the clothes were actually digitally colored on, and because originally it was not tamed artwork. We wanted something for the masses, you know, that maybe don't want them all exposed. So we've got the naughty version and the tame version there. And then
we're going to show a few interiors here.
All right, yeah. And there's those kids, the creepy kids that you're.
Oh yeah.
To.
Yeah, these 2 right here. Watch out for those 2.
Yeah, one the boy, the male is Brother Wolf, and his sister Moon. So that's them, and they are, yeah.
Now, whenever I said it starts off in a whole bunch of action sequence and everything on there, this is not even your first page, but that is actually leading into it right there. So this is what it starts off with. And I'm not even going to tell you what happens on how we get to that point or anything, because that's why you have to read the book.
Yeah, it was difficult to try, and just like the trailer, it's difficult to select things I wanted to give the impression of the book without giving away the whole story. So
just the original cover is just amazing.
Dale is such an awesome artist. I am so grateful to have met her, and I'm gonna make sure she does a cover for every book I put out from this point on. So
yeah,
she's a phenomenal artist.
Yeah, that is absolutely, that is your project that you're going to, everybody that's on here watching, will be watching and everything. That's your project. You have to go see it. You have to go see if you like it, which I don't understand why you wouldn't. I mean, come on, a devil, a demon, and a pastor. Who else do you have to appease on this?
That was the greatest moment when that happened. When you guys said that, I was like, I'm stealing that line. I'm using it for every promotion from now on.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, I have had a blast having you on here. I hope you have too. If you'll give us last audible shout outs on where we can find you, and then I'll have all the information on here as well so they can get to you much quicker. Absolutely.
So on most social medias, I am under Scattered Comics. So Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you're at, look up Scattered Comics, all one line. On Facebook, I'm known as Jason Dube, the comic guy. But yeah, check out the Indiegogo. There's the link right there. I really appreciate any kind of support, even if it's just checking out the video with the music and checking out what it's all about. I just really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you guys like the book as much as it was fun putting it out.
Oh, you will, trust me.
You're the man.
Jason, thank you again. Hopefully we can get you back on here pretty soon, actually, to go ahead and talk about how the book did and what the future might be on other things you can be coming out with, like, you know, Lylith and Mara Part 2.
Part 2. I love it. Yeah, I'd be really happy to come back. It's been a blast, man. It's just like hanging out with my best friend. So, you know.
Excellent. All right. Appreciate it much.
All right, man. Bye.
All right. So we had Jason on here. We had a blast going over Lylith and Mara, Sisters of the Dark. See, there's still something up with that microphone. I don't know what it is. I'll get it fixed, I swear, sometime, but I just don't know when. So I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different on that. And I never script my statement. I always go based off of how the conversation's going and lead up into something. So this one's going to it's going to be very simple on this. It's going to be whenever you've got something that you want to go ahead and put out there that you're not sure somebody's going to like or whatever, take the leap. You know, Jason wasn't really sure about the video. I mean, coming into Kickstarter pause, that's very scary for a lot of people because we're not trying to be scary. We're trying to be very constructive on that. But he was very concerned that he was going to come out there and hit some kind of a wall that was basically saying, hey, do this over. It wasn't good enough. And he decided to at least take the leap. So by taking the leap, here we are now. He's got an Indiegogo that he's doing very well on. That he's about to do a lot better on because we're all going to help him out on that one. Because I'm telling you right now, a devil, a demon, and a pastor approved. What other deity do we need? I'm just trying to think of that because I mean, if we need others, we'll find them. I'm sure they're on here somewhere. We'll locate them and tag them in this. But devil, demon, and pastor approved. Lylith and Mara, Sisters of the Dark. You need to jump on this thing. All right, you got the links. You know what to do, and there will be giveaways involved in this. Mark my words. Until then, Comics from More New Jersey, Demon Phil. Keep it indie, y'all.